Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar of ASAC, Abdulaziz Al School of Advanced Technology. Here is Ahmed Lawad, my lead instructor at ASAC, and would like to welcome our guest for today, Saif Masadeh. Saif Masadeh is a 10-year experienced software engineer in companies such as SouthWest Airlines, Cox Automotive, and HP. And Saif also manages his own YouTube channel, which contains content about Java and JavaScript. I actually know, I've been known Saif for like 18 years now. We went to school together, and we actually had our masters together. So like to welcome Saif. Hi, Saif. You can start sharing your screen or open your video, I mean.
All right, I will start sharing my screen first and we'll take it from there. And all right, first of all, it's my honor to be with you today. I'm really thankful for Ahmed, Mira, and Saif for putting all this thing together. And, it is a great opportunity to be here to talk to you about some lessons I have learned during my experience. And I'm really thankful, like when we think about this time of pandemic, coronavirus, and all what's going on in the world. And I really appreciate that we all together as, collective energy came together to learn something and share something. And, because this is how we can be, good humans during this time. Today, I'm not going to talk about specific language or technology. I know there are a lot of resources if you want to learn something in details. But when Ahmed reached out to me and we talked about, what I'm going to talk about briefly, I thought that it would be a good idea to talk about my personal journey because this is what makes this presentation unique. It's my own experience that I want to share with you today. And it is what I have learned over the years from, the friends around me, from the people that I have met in this industry. And so I hope you enjoy it and I hope you get something out of this presentation. So let's start with, I'm sure that you have heard this term many times in your life, like market yourself, sell yourself. But as software engineer, you need to think about it. Like you have the tools today, like in the past, like, if you go to any shop, you just see, like, for example, if you want to buy an apple, like, it's going to be green, shiny, or like red, whatever you like. It's like they put it in a certain way to make it like looks good. So imagine yourself as this apple in the market and you want to, kind of market yourself like between all these apples. And so you have these tools today that you can leverage and you can use to make people or to convince people that you are the one, you are the chosen one for this position. And, and because it's really not easy decision to bring somebody to the team. It's like bringing someone to the family. It's like bringing a new energy to the family. You need to make sure that this energy, that this person is a good fit for the environment. And I have been involved in the interview process in the last company. And like, I would say most of the time we focus on like the energy of this person. Like I really sometimes don't care if you know like how to solve this algorithm or not, but I want you to engage me during the thinking process, during, like I want to see what is your thinking process? How do you approach the problem? Anyway, so I would say like there are many ways. I'm gonna like by covering these points that in the other slides, I hope you will get it from there. You will get this idea of marketing yourself. Um, so I have this list that came up to my mind when I started thinking about putting these slides together. And there might be more. There might be, lists for each one. Like, so each one has its own list. Like, you can talk to different software engineers, and we'll give you like different ideas. But this is what this is what came to my mind when I thought about sharing my experience. I'm gonna tell you like something as a software engineer today and where I am right now. It's my own experience, and also what I have gained from other people's experiences by interacting with them, by having good time, bad time, successful projects, bad projects. So let's start with the first point here. Write a clean code. Oh man, okay. um, I would say the first thing that you need to do before you start writing the code, you need to think before you start writing the code, because there's a term here that we use here. It's like when we say cowboys coding, which means like some people like write the code the cowboys way, like just stick things together, make it work, that's it. And in the first, like the first minute you just turn your back, your code starts crashing. So why do you need to write a clean code? Like, first of all, I'm gonna say, think about others. This code that you write today is gonna be on the server for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I have seen code that has been on the server for 30 years or 40 years running there. And so think about the others who will come after you and adopt this code. And think about, these people who want to come and, update this code or make some changes. Think about this code when it's in the server and some exception happen. You want to log a good exception, a readable exception that people will understand what happened in this code. So what we can say, be a good citizen when you write your code, and be good to your community. You also want to write a clean code because you want to be able to expand it and maintain it in the future. Because today I'm building one page. Like today, let's say your manager came to you, is like, hey, I want you to build this application to show, for example, like the flight status, for like the flights in Dallas, so, or in Amman. So the first thing comes to your mind, oh, I need this table, I need, search box, whatever, put it together, and the page is working. But I would say when you start writing your code, think about the bigger picture. Instead of writing this component and hard code it, like think about making this component abstract, make it like dynamic, something that can, be expanded in the future. So always keep your eyes on the future, like how I'm gonna make this code expandable, like something dynamic that I can add to it without refactor, have a big refactoring. Also, you yourself, like years from now, you might be stuck with this code, and you need to maintain it. You need to come back to this code, and how many times, like, I mean, in my experience, I have run into some code that I have written in the past, and I was like, who wrote this code? I was like, I have disgusting look on my face, and it was me. Like when I looked at the history of the code, it was me who wrote this code. But I'm telling you from now, when you write this code, think about that in the future. Like, don't just write this code and just to deliver like something. Just write this code to make it, better, to be a good citizen within your community. And I'm sure like these days there are like many tools when it depends on the company that you are, joining. Like these days, there is like when you write your code, there's a code review process. Your team members will look at the code, review it, add a comment. There'll be like a loop, like coming back and forth when you write your code. So keep an eye on that. Whenever you join a company, ask about these tools, like what are you guys using for, code reviews. And also there are like each IDE you are using today, whether it's like IntelliJ or like Microsoft products, they have some tools that they can, do some, first iteration of, refactoring your code or do some suggestion or tips. So try to look up for these tools and, make your code clean. All right, I will go to the second slide. Learn the design patterns. And if you haven't heard about design patterns yet, I would say it's not too late. You have when you learn the design patterns, like you really, it's one thing. You don't reinvent the wheel from scratch. And design patterns is something that started with architectural engineering or civil engineers, like way back in the time. And these engineers, like they recognize there's some patterns, like if this road is this way and this road this way, then we can build a bridge. And like, they came up with these patterns for civil engineers, and they shared these patterns between them. And these patterns, like each science starting like adopting these patterns and trying to find what the patterns in my science. Then it came to the computer science, and there was like a book called The Gang of Four, and it's a very famous book, a classic book. These four software engineers came up with this book. I tried to read this book in the past. It's kind of very abstract, and maybe it's not the best book to read, like if to understand it. I'm sure it's a classic. It's an amazing book, But if you want to read it, there are a lot of resources in the internet. If you are a Python developer, look for design patterns for Python. If you are a Java developer, look for design patterns in Java. They are the same design patterns, but the way that people explain it in each language might be like, have some discrepancies between this and that. And there are like the classic design patterns that you really need to know these design patterns, like the factory design pattern, singleton, there are many of them. I would say there are like at least 6, 7 that are really important in your day-to-day programming. And the good thing about design pattern is a common language. So once you have to join a company, join a team, and let's say one day you are, with your team lead, and you ask them like, oh, this is the problem I have, and your team lead just tells you one word, like, hey, it's I would say factory design pattern. And if you understand design pattern, you know exactly what you want to know by these 2 words. So educate yourself about design patterns, and try to look up the famous ones and try to write the code to do it. That will give you, a good, I would say, a good introduction to the computer science and the way how to write a good. It also helps you to write a clean code. JUnit testing. This is very important for any developers. I know, like, there is something about developers, man. I mean, you write the code and you think that your code is the best code ever. It's like, I write the most beautiful code, and you're just like, but man, this is not real. Like, I would say, from my experience, I learned it the bad way, actually. Like, one time back in the days, like in Houston, I was working for this big company, and we had this big project, and I worked really hard on this project with my tech lead, like 4 months. And after, like, I would say we delivered that project with blood and tears. And one night before, I just like looked at one line and just like, I really just like changed one line in that code, one line. And the next day we shipped that code to the production, and man, they opened the gate and the invoices start coming in and crash. 50% of the application was like 50% of the invoices were failing because of one line that I haven't JUnit testing that night, and it cost me like a lot of time and stress and blame. Imagine how much blame you're gonna get, like when you are working for, like, you don't think about page. You're not, maybe one day you're gonna write application that's gonna be used by thousands of users or like millions of users, like you never know. And just think about it from now, like you are not just JUnit testing to show people that your work is, that your code is working, but you are JUnit testing your code for security, for job security. You don't want to ship something to the production that has problems, that has bugs. And also, I see testing as a documentation. Like the way I write the test, it's a documentation. And also, like today, there's another, like there's an approach where you write code by writing testing. So you start writing your code by writing the test. And I think it's called test-driven development or something like that. So you can write the test first, and from the test, it's like a reverse engineering. You write the test, and from the test, you start building your code. So testing is something that you need to consider when you write your code. And it's a good way of documentation. It's a good way of securing yourself, securing your code, and protecting your team. You don't want to put your team on the edge because you just decided that your code is superior and it's untouchable. So I feel like maybe, Ahmed, we can take a poll right now, just to break a little bit from keep talking. I hope I did not talk too much. So like,
Is it about the conflict?
you can poll, any random one.
All right, I'm gonna launch a poll. Please, all audience here, please try to answer this poll. It's very important for Saif to continue this webinar. Thanks.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I was just gonna say also, like, UJ testing because you want to sleep at night. You don't want somebody to call you like in the middle of the night or 1 a.m., 3 a.m. Hey, the code's broken, it's not working. So to get enough sleep, to get your vacation time, you don't want somebody to call you. Like I had some calls sometimes, not because of me, like, you sometimes you inherit code that you haven't written. And like I had to write, work vacation during the vacation or during my holidays or whatever. So just to also to get enough sleep, think about JUnit testing equal good, like good night's sleep. So
That's a good reason.
yeah. Yeah, especially if you have, I don't know, if you have family and kids and whatever. I don't have, but I know people who have families probably.
Okay, 30 seconds and then we close this poll. So please try your best to answer it now. All right. So Saif, Let me share
Okay.
the results. I think I can share the results.
All right.
See
All
them?
right. So, okay. Oh, I see some people, like we have some bold people here. All right. So I asked this question because, people have different chemistry. They have different, behaviors and attitudes. And I assure you that you're gonna run to conflicts maybe from the first day whenever you join a new team. This is how humans, interact with each other. This is how we live. Um, I would say that there was like some time when at the beginning of my career where I act like nothing is happening and I would just like live with it. But I would say this will poison you over time. Like it's a poisoning situation if you want, if you act like nothing is happening. Because think about the stress that you're gonna get. Think about like if you need help from this person and you just keep ignoring that yourself, ignoring your feeling about this conflict. First of all, we are not living when you work with a team, you work with a family. So if the whole team is healthy, the whole team will work as a unit, to achieve their goal. And if you really act as nothing happening, that will impact the dynamic of the team, and you might not reach your goal. So I mean at the end of the day it's your decision, but I'm gonna tell you, like, acting like nothing is happening is not the best approach for you. Reach out to your manager, scrum master. I'm gonna tell you, like, I mean, the second two answers are nice, but I'm gonna tell you like this from my experience. If you really if you think, I think also depends on 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 how is the other person will take this conversation. So if you feel that this person is like will not receive this conflict, they will not be able to receive you and interact with you or be open, then you need to reach out to your scrum master or manager, and not by not complaining, but you'd say, I have this problem in the team and I think this is impacting my team energy and we are not able to deliver our goals. Like how we can, and I have this problem with this person, and you don't go like as I'm complaining about this person. It's like there's something wrong. I need to fix with this, And by having you, and usually you don't go to the manager or the scrum master and complain. You just tell them that I have a problem, and you don't. And if your scrum master or manager is wise enough, he would bring you together, like face to face, and manage and facilitate, this meeting between both of you by being open about what is the problem and how can we find the solution. And there was like many times we ran into this situation and I have to reach out to Scrum Master, tell them there was a problem, bring us together, talk about the problem. And if you don't have Scrum Master and you feel like the manager is busy, it's okay to go and talk to your, colleague about this problem. But it's good to address this problem to, to remove any issues with the team. I hope that was, that brought you some, insight to that question. Anyway, it is important during your career path to find a mentor. Don't be stubborn for sure, and don't fight exceptions on your own. Don't get stuck if you have an expert next desk. It is important for you to find a mentor, and because from my experience, the first company I worked for, I met this amazing engineer. His name is Muhammad, and he, like this person, he was very smart. Not only by like in writing code, it's also smart by reading people talent and personalities. Um, and I at the beginning I was depressed. It was my first job. I don't know what to do. I don't know. You know, it's when it's your first job, you're just like, what I'm gonna do? Like, this is my first time writing code, and this code will be somewhere in the production. People are gonna use it, and this person like really showed me like we are different in our talent, and by observing me, he just analyzed my personality, and he said after some time he just came to me and is like, Saif, I know you are a person who needs time to understand the problem, and it's not that you are stupid. If you need time to understand the problem, if you are a visual person, like I'm a visual person. If you come to me and it's like, I have this problem, blah blah blah, and I was like, I can't really get it. I can't get my head around your problem, whatever you're saying, unless I draw that thing on the paper or like draw it on the board, on the whiteboard. So that's not a weakness. We have different way of thinking. You just need to think about that. And by having this mentor, they will help you navigate, during your career path, just to help you to find your, strength and weakness. How I'm gonna work on my weakness to be a better developer. So, and it will like in the Sufism, like, they always have this shape, like who lead them, or like, and their students and teachers. Like, think about it as this is my sheikh in the software engineering world. This is my guy, this is my lead, the person, and give them some trust that they will show you the way to find a good career path. And there is not much. I mean, if you find one, you're gonna be lucky. I'm just gonna tell you, like, because people are busy, people have family. But if you really have some person, if you can find this mentor in your life and in your career, that would be nice. If they can give you advice about what's next for you, and how I'm gonna write. Do you have any book in your mind? Do you have any lecture you want me to read? Do you have any book, something like that? So mentor is really important thing, and I was blessed like by having some good people in my life, that they helped me in my career. They helped me like to always to trust myself that I have something to do and I have something to give to this world. And I would say the first mentor, like, we have, who's your first mentor in life? It's your mom. So if you find this, you need someone who's like always tell you, like, you are beautiful, you are nice, you are amazing software engineer, just like, push you to the next step. So I'm really like, I think it's important. And if wherever you go in your career, whatever your company you join, if you can find this person, and stick to them and get some help from them, that would be nice. Also, one day think about yourself that you're going to be a mentor and you're going to help people, so by sharing your knowledge. All right, this is another important thing here. Be the change you want to see in this world. I would say as humans, we have this nature of complaining. We always like to complain. It's easy to complain. It's easy to go back home, or like to go out for a coffee break with your colleagues. Like, oh, my manager sucks, or like, oh, my leader like is he does not understand where we're going. Like, I don't know what is this project about. It's easy to complain, but it takes you like courage to be a good citizen in your company, to go and try to fix the problem by stepping forward and identify that problem and fix it, or work with the others to fix it. I remember, like, speaking of the JUnit testing, like, I worked in my last company here in Dallas. We used to have this big platform, like in-house platform that was built like in the 90s, and we have like literally we have like maybe 60% or 70% of the car dealers in the United States. Like you're talking about millions of requests hitting your website every day. And when this lead, this person, amazing person, like very talented, joined the company, nobody really was doing a real JUnit testing. And this person, like one person, and imagine one person within hundreds of people in the same company, and he just came in to the company and he started writing JUnit testing, add that JUnit testing to his code. And by looking at the JUnit testing in his code review, first of all, it's like, oh, whoa. My code does not have, a JUnit testing. I need to write JUnit. So first of all, you're gonna talk to yourself like, oh, I have something missing. And also like he built a community over the time. For example, when we have a code review, he would go to this person like gently, not bold ways, like, hey, like gently, hey, can you please add JUnit testing for your code? And, think about, and also he built a community. He built like this force of community, a lot of people, and brought attention to management, to like different developers. Like JUnit testing is important. We're not doing that for fun. We're doing that because we want to avoid any problems. And because, I would say one time, one of the developers and in the last company that I worked for, like he really changed like a few lines in his code as well. And it cost us like millions of dollars because the website was down for half day. And here in the United States, like if your website is down, the companies that you are hosting their website, they're gonna charge you back. Instead of you charging them, they will charge you back. So like we lost millions of dollars during this half day because their website was not up. You're talking about Ford, Audi, all these General Motors companies, their website were down because somebody pushed code to the, to the production without testing and, brought their site down. Anyway, so like, it's very like always be that change. If you think that there's something missing, that there is something that needs to be enhanced within this team, something I can make better, like and like code delivery, whatever, like try to bring that to people attention, not just complain, oh, this thing is not the way I like. If it's not the way you like, then make it the way you like. This is something I feel like it's very classic, but this, I mean, I would say I'm not a big fan of certifications, but it is something that you have to have these days because if it's your first job, people want to see something in your resume other than, your graduation project and stuff. So, or your GitHub. So it would be nice if you, get certified and show that, first of all, you show that you are interested in technology, that you have some potential, and you are serious, about this. And I don't know, like, what is my audience, I know that you guys maybe learning Python, maybe Java, maybe React, HTML, and CSS, but I'm not sure what is your, what is the majority of your audience is trying to achieve, or what is the next step for you. But I feel like today there are like important technologies that, I would say shiny, and people would like to see it in your resume. And like, you talk about AWS, it's a big kid in the neighborhood. So you need, to give it some time, because I feel like all the companies, we are moving there, whether you like or not, we are moving to the clouds. And it's very important to, at least familiarize yourself with the clouds. If you don't want to take that certificate, at least, read about the cloud. There are like a lot of YouTube videos about AWS and clouds. The clouds, and because they're like Azure and Google. But AWS is the big player here, so probably you need to get, get yourself updated and, learn more about it. There is like one of the shiny walls these days is like, data scientists and data bricks and data lakes and all these things. So I would say keep yourself updated and try to learn as much as possible. Get out of your comfort zone. It's today it's not only about writing code. It's also about where you're gonna host your code, how you're gonna, escalate. Because there are like a lot. I really don't want to get in very technical here, but try to look at these certificates. If you don't want to take them, at least take a look at the content and try to familiarize yourself with the content. We have amazing tools. We have the GitHub, Stack Overflow, and all these tools. So try to leverage them. So if you have some code then that you can share on GitHub, in your personal GitHub, go ahead, share it. If you can go to Stack Overflow, ask a question, answer a question, rate a question, please go ahead, do it, because it's good to have that in your resume that you are part of a community. And if you have something, for example, like I have been thinking about, like, for example, like writing, like, I did some YouTube videos in the past about Java, JavaScript, whatever like comes to my mind. And I think it's a good thing. Like if you go one day to the interviews, like, how, what are you doing? It's like, you'd say that sometimes I do this thing. It just shows something about you, like your personality that you would like to share, that you like, to give back to the community that you came from. So, and think about software engineers as a community. It's like a big community, people in different from different, countries and different nations are, like contributing to this. We are a big family, and you just like take from this family and give back to that family. So this is one thing. And Ahmed, maybe we can take another poll right now, and just to break the ice.
Yeah, sure. Gonna launch it now for 1 minute, 60 seconds. Can you guys see it?
Yes. Oh man, that's a big. All right.
What is the time, Saif, in Texas?
I don't know. Are you tracking the time?
Oh no, I was like, what's the time in Texas now?
Oh, it's I think it's maybe it's 8:30, or I don't know what, like it's 8:30. It's between 8 and 9 because we started at 8. So we are
Okay.
8 and 9. I don't have
Early
something maybe.
morning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. She just like should maybe go faster a little bit, because I want to give some time for question and answers later. All right. All right. So if you find yourself in a poisoning environment, what would you do? And I would say, in many times, like in my experience, even like as adult, I was like, because like sometimes you join this team and you find this really poisoning, people like just not collaborating with each other, talking about each other, and like the code sucks the way it is written, and like even as I would say after 10 years, like sometimes I joined companies where like I feel like I really can't do it anymore. Just like this is over this is over. I can't do it. And I would say just give it some time. If you find yourself in poisoning environment, I would say when we say try to be the change. So try to give it some time. See if you can. So resign, yes. Sometimes I feel like resigning. I mean, I'm with you, man. That person said resign, like yes, I'm with you. I'm gonna get out of there. But I would say give it some time. And I think the best approach, I like that we have. I would say I would I'm hybrid between 2 and 3, I would start looking for another job. Yes, why not? And also I would identify the issues and speak to the higher management in parallel. I will do this in parallel. Like first of all, I will give it some time, try to identify the problems, see if I can be a good citizen and fix the problem. But if the management, if you go to the management and they don't care, you're like, I'm out of here, So I would say, it's a hybrid, it's a mix of all these things. And there are like one time I really resigned. That was like that was back in Amman, and I was working for this company, and the manager they would sometimes rush into the room and like open the door, just like look at your screen and just like something like that. Or sometimes they would come and look. There was one time they came and they just looked at my cup and just like there was like half of the cup, and they said, "Oh, you are wasting your company resources by not drinking the whole cup." So yes, I had this situation. So if you are in a situation where it's like really very, very poisoning you, yes, it's fine, resign and get yourself out of there. But I would say it's a hybrid of identifying the problems, try to talk to higher management, scrum master, and if you can solve the problem, it's fine. If you can't, you probably also need to start looking for a new job. So because you don't want to be stuck there for a long time. It's not good for your health, mental health. It's not good for your your career path. Okay, there's something here. I'm not gonna like spend much time here on this slide, but I would say, we have this social media thing today. Like we have a lot of things, like you spend a lot of time in social media. So try to follow, good people. Like I would say Twitter is a good place to follow tech people because the majority of them are there and they really like keep posting what's new in the technology. And if they have a new video or post or something, so I'm a fan of Twitter when I want to follow tech people. I have a list, like I built a list in the past, but it was like for Java developers. But I would say like it depends on what you are interested in. There are like, I'm sure there are a lot of good people in whatever you're interested in. LinkedIn, for sure you need to follow people on LinkedIn to build this virtual relationship with them. And maybe they will see something in your page and it's like, oh, this person is like really interesting. Like he has this, GitHub, and he has this project. So it's good. Like LinkedIn is there like to share your work, professional work. Like don't use LinkedIn as Facebook or like as whatever, Instagram. I really am not a fan of that. I don't, when I see this is like, for me, it's like, oh, whoa, no, don't do that. So LinkedIn is like for your professional work. Twitter, like it's a good place for like to follow tech people because they are really like posting a lot of things. And YouTube, there's like good channels. Like if you follow people on Twitter, they probably have some YouTube channels, so they keep updating their content and publishing new videos. And there is like really like this amazing like gathering that happen like in different parts of the world. Like every year, like people come together and have days of TikToks and talk about technology. So do that. Try to follow people. Leverage your social media for your benefit. Attend webinars and meetups like what we're doing right now. Nourish your knowledge of, about your technologies. Because if how many times you run into this professor and you're like, we remember like I went to the techno. I studied in the Jordan University of Technology. Ahmed, we went to the same university, and there sometimes you would see professors come to the lecture with really yellow papers. Like they were yellow. Like I would say they were like from. It's like this is from the 19th century, man. Like, what do you have there? It's like, so I mean, it's fine, but just it's not the way. I mean, I don't really use notebooks anymore because like knowledge keeps It's changing so fast. You like if you write something today, it's not the same like after 1 month. It's just crazy. So keep yourself updated, and it's kind of overwhelming sometimes. I know, I understand that, but really work on yourself. Try, and I know like it's also good for because if you are young, it's fine, man. Man, back in the days, I used like just very excited. Like I read a book, the whole book, and just go write examples and stuff. Now I really can't do that much. Like, but if you are young, just try to go there and like spend the more time you spend writing your code behind your laptop, the more you become a better software engineer. Just don't like, oh, you read one page or something. No, you have to get your hand dirty, man. You just need to go down and write code and attend these webinars, meetups, meet people, like build these relationships and learn from others. I mean, always yeah, like yesterday I was writing this React component, and I wrote this big React component, was like maybe hundreds of lines. And then I went and I asked in Slack, and this person came was like, oh, there's this component that somebody built. And it's like, I really shrink that hundreds of lines to 5 lines by using that component. And it's just like, it's like how much time you waste by, to write this big component from scratch. I really don't want to write my component if there's another component there. So I'm saying by watching webinars, meetups, what's up, what's going on in the industry, what's a new technology. Instead of building like this, building this file processor, like something to process your files, there's like streams, there's Flink, there's a lot of technology. So like by learning even about things that they don't make sense to you right now, it might make sense to you in the future. So try, to open your eyes and learn about these things, even if they don't belong to what you are doing right now. So teamwork is important, guys. Like and you may, there is no way that you're gonna write a project from scratch, like the whole project. You always will work with other people to deliver a project, and so always work with your team, because if your project, if you don't deliver your project at the end of the day, you will get the blame as part of the team. So work with your team on that project, and always communicate with them. Be a good citizens. I always be nice to people, so people will be nice to you. And teamwork is really like important. Like this is what I learned from the last company. I think in the last company, the most thing I learned about my career was soft skills, how to be really a good developer within my team. And I would say I learned a lot about how to handle the conflict, how to navigate, during the, how about how to speak up when I have, when I cannot deliver something on time, how to be like transparent with your team. Like if you really cannot solve a problem, just be transparent with your team. Like, hey, I have this problem. I have this blocker. I can't deliver this on time. What are our options? Don't be selfish. Like you live with, with a community. So try to be a good team member, and because people will be, good with you if you do that. I really want to talk more about teamwork because it's very important. And it's very important to build this relationship between you and other tech people in your company, because it's not a temporary relationship. Like one day you're gonna leave this company, go to other company, they're gonna go somewhere else, and you might cross path again. So if all you have is a bad impression, like think about today, I moved to this A company, he moved to C, and one day C offered this job, and I have to go, you have to go to interview, and you find this person in your face. Like, what is your impression there? So think about it. It's not temporary. These people will be in the industries for years. They are your people. So for your benefit, always be nice to people, be a good teamwork, help others, and try to get help when it's time. Okay, communication is important. As I said, be transparent. Let your team management, team and management know what's going on. And, how many times, I would say it is, I have like, in my previous experience when I was a junior, there was like many times where I really ignored communication and expressing myself and my concerns. But as I grow old, I think it's part of my personality now. I see communication. I adopted communication. I started being more transparent about the issues that I have, in any project during the sprint, during the iteration. Because it's really important, because when people know that you are a good communicator, they know that they can, rely on you, they can trust you, that they can put the project on your hand, and they feel like this project is safe because, you're gonna be transparent about what's going on. You're not just gonna hide information and details and what is the status. You're not gonna give them, a false status about your project. So it's really good to communicate with your team, with your management, and all the time keep them updated and don't hide anything. Even if sometimes you feel like this might be harmful for myself, for my career, try to be transparent, try to be honest, don't lie. Serious, don't lie. There's nothing worth lying about, about your project status or about your code. If you really don't know something, communicate it. Say, I don't know. If somebody's, let's say tomorrow, you meet this team lead and it's like, hey, I want you to do this, blah, blah, blah. And if you act like you understood this thing and you just went to your desk and you start staring at your screen for hours, then you need to think about it, man. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. If you don't understand something, ask about it, communicate. And communication is really important. Think about that and keep it in your mind all the time. Nobody can read your mind. Nobody can open your mind and know what's going on without speaking up. And so I think that's the last slide. Maybe we can take another poll, and after that, maybe we can open it for question and answer if we have enough time.
So, can we jump to questions?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Saif.
You're gonna read the question?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the question. You just answer it live. Yes.
Okay.
Someone asked, how would you organize your time to get some reading of the Design Patterns book, especially as new graduates trying to get themselves into the market? Between reading, learning code, data structures, market, and other books. How would you find time to read Design Patterns?
I think I would say just focus on the main design patterns. There are maybe 6 or 7 design patterns, and there are really good websites that explain these design patterns. And usually when you think about design patterns, you think why this design pattern is there, the reason and the approach to to approach the problem, define the problem and approach the problem and solve it. So I would say if you are not don't have time for reading, which design pattern is only one page. When you think about design patterns, it will, if you really 1 week, if you read one design pattern every day, you're gonna have 7 design patterns, and that would be enough for you. If you don't want to read, just go to YouTube, design patterns, search design patterns, and you're gonna find the good resources there. Actually, personally, I start thinking about having YouTube videos in Arabic for design patterns, because if English is your second language, it's still my second language, but I feel like when I first graduated and my team lead explained design patterns for me, I had hard time to understanding like design patterns.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe I would say in the future maybe I can have some Arabic content for design patterns, because I feel like it's very important to share that with others. Maybe that's my my next project, to have some design patterns in Arabic. So yeah, I hope I answered your questions.
Yeah, thanks, Sid. We have another question saying, what's your advice on managing and leading technical teams?
Can you elaborate more on that question? Like, because are we talk? Is this person like trying to be a lead, or like?
They just need an advice like on managing and leading technical teams. I mean, from your experience, if you have any.
I would say, agile is a big thing these days, and I worked in different environments, and uh, agile was the best environment I worked for. Um, and if you haven't read about agile, I would encourage you to go and read about agile, because it's an amazing concept. With agile community, I'm just going to give you like, this is my best approach to manage team agile, because in agile you have 2 weeks iteration. Like, usually you'll have stories. We approach the problems as stories. Like, story will be like something simple, like I want, as a user, I want to build a web page that has a search um, button and has a table. So this is one story. And the team usually, like at the beginning of the sprint, they meet, they get together, they discuss the story, like how I'm gonna approach this story, how much effort do I need for this story, and who's gonna work on this story. And so as a team, you get together and you define these problems, how you're gonna approach these problems. And then when the sprint starts, you go to work and you start working. After a few days, you deliver this work, and the QA will QA it, QA that story. If it passes, it goes to the product owner. The product owner, the person who is responsible for this product, he looks at it. And if I'm talking about the dynamic with a really amazing team here, like agile usually has maybe few developers, maybe say in my experience, 3 developers, 2 QAs, 1 product owner, 1 scrum master, all in one room. And so it's like a family. And you work with other developers, like every 2 weeks you have new stories, you work on these stories, you deliver them. And at the end of each, when I talk about transparency, this is how I learned transparency. At the end of each sprint, we were having like a ceremony called retrospective, where the whole team sit together in one room. We sit around the table and we say what problems we had during the sprint, and how can we solve these problems. Person problems, you can say, I think this person doesn't use deodorant, and something like that. I don't know, one day you go to a company, some people is not using deodorant, like you feel like this is annoying for you, just don't want to talk about it. Like, there are like sometime like that. So there is like this. And actually it needs courage for companies to adopt agile. It's an amazing concept, but unfortunately maybe some companies are not willing to adopt agile. But in my experience, I worked 5 years with this company and they were adopting agile, working with a team where everyone knows his role. And we don't have tech leads in agile. There's no tech leads. It's just we all developers, like QAs, front-end developers, back-end developers. We are all developers. We're all wearing the same hat. We are developers. We treat each other's equally. Tech lead is not a thing. We just interact with each other with respect, and we all like share knowledge. And we call them a team representative. Like whenever we have team representative, we have, if someone needs to be behalf on our team with others, he would go and just talk about what we have done, what problems we have. So I hope I answered your question. But if you look at agile and how the environment is, probably that will give you more insight to that.
Yeah, actually, it's part of our curriculum. We train our students on using Agile at ASAC.
Nice.
So.
I really like it and encourage it.
All right, the last thing, Saif, people are asking if you can share your, YouTube channel link or
Okay,
social link on the chat here. That would
I,
be great.
yeah, maybe I can send it to you later, like in an email, because I
Okay,
don't.
that's fine too. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. On behalf of Luminous ASAC and on behalf of the 85 participants today, we'd like to thank Saif Masadeh for your time today. That was a very interesting topic, and we loved it. Everyone here, we're happy with it. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity, Ahmed. I really wanted to get in touch with people. I feel like this is a good opportunity, to give back to the community, and
Sure.
it was my honor, like, to be in this. And I hope I gave something today for people, and I hope that helped other people, to find something, like to think about it, their career. And I hope that, I
Yeah,
just
thank you so
one
much.
thing: be nice to people all the time. Just be nice to people and just be nice to your community, because it's karma. Whatever you do, whatever you give to the people will come back to you. So that's my last advice for you guys.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much, Saif. And
But,
hopefully, when you come to Jordan, you can visit us here at
oh
ASAC.
yeah, definitely. I would love
All right. Thank you so much.
to.
Thank you so much, everyone who participated today. And looking forward the next webinar.
All
Thank
right.
you. Have a
Have a good
wonderful
day.
day.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.